Hi, Joe.
How's it going?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm all right. I'm glad we're doing this at a reasonable hour, not at
What's
3 a.m.
what's the time there?
Right now it's 2:30 p.m.
Okay, and it's here almost 9 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, Joe, at first, please give me some information about yourself and about your musical bands and projects.
About myself. Uh, I'm a Quebecer, so I'm originally French speaking, but I live
Really?
in a place where people speak English and French.
Okay.
So I learned English in school. Let me see. I'm a 35-year-old man who has I'm a father. That's what I do in life. I have a teenage son, and
Really?
otherwise, I spend most of my time working on some music, either alone or with some other people sometimes.
Okay, cool. A teenage son. I thought you were younger, actually. Really? I didn't expect you were nearly my age, man. I'm
Oh, well,
42.
I don't know how old you are. But like I said, I'm
42,
35,
nearly
and my
43.
son he's 13 years old.
Okay, okay, I'm nearly 42. No children by my own, so
None
all
that you
time
know.
for metal music. Anyway, what age? At what age you started to get interested in metal punk music, and what was the first band you have heard?
I'm not very sure, but I think I would have been maybe 11 years old, and I remember listening to the radio or the TV and seeing some bands that seemed interesting, rock bands, like Green Day or Offspring or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have much interest in music as a child because my father was the person who was in charge of doing the music at church, and I hated that music so much.
Yeah, I can believe.
and But by the time I was like 13 years old, my older sister's boyfriend at the time, he had given me a big bag full of cassette tapes that he dubbed in the 80s. So lots of hardcore punk stuff, some metal.
Whoa! And what were the first bands you have heard?
In those days, it was stuff like Conflict, DRI, Millions of Dead Cops, uh, typical starter bands. Good stuff, Dead Kennedys, Exploited, DOA.
Okay.
But I also heard at the same time, I heard things like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple.
Whoa, that's cool. I actually started with a lot of glam stuff and traditional heavy metal because MDC I heard much later for me because I was a hard rocker in the first place, heavy metal, and
Yeah.
then later punk and hardcore stuff came much later. So for you it was the opposite actually.
Well, it was both at the same time, honestly. And I've always stuck to both. I've always drawn parallels between, punk rock and hardcore and then heavy metal and extreme metal. There's so much crossover appeal. To me, it's almost the same music, really.
Yeah, for me it's like good music is good music no matter what.
Exactly.
So
Some
yeah.
people are unfortunately way too close-minded in both scenes, and all they're doing is depriving themselves of things they could really like in life.
True. And you miss a lot if you border yourself. You miss
Yeah.
so many. I agree with you in that case. Okay, how is the current underground scene in Canada? And tell us some bands to check out. If you recommend some bands I have to check out from Canada, current bands, maybe you can name some.
Uh, I'm not the best person to ask for that. I'm really not part of the scene. Uh, and Canada's a large country, so it's 5 days to drive to the other side of the country. Uh, so it's hard to know what's going on in the scene there. Um, if there's some bands I can bring up, it's mostly in extreme metal stuff. Uh, a local band here called Dead Soul Alliance. I helped record their album. Good old school death metal. Another band in that style. from Western Canada, Immortal Force. I'm trying to think of what else comes to mind, like new bands, not because everyone has already heard all the 80s classics, and a lot of those bands are still active, Voivod or Exciter or Razor or something. And then there's bands, that are well established. They're good bands, like a Cauldron or Skullfist or Riot City or something.
Yeah. And a lot of great AOR in Canada. I don't know if how is the scene for that music at the moment there, but I love the Canadian AOR from the 80s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of AOR and even glam in the 80s. Good stuff. On the
Brighton
AOR
Rock.
side, you had bands like Gowan. I don't know if you know Gowan.
Ooh,
Gowan
not sure.
sold millions of records here. Anyways, and then on the commercial hard rock side, you have bands like Kick-Axe or
Yeah.
I don't know, Helix or fucking I don't
Brighton
know,
Rock.
Lee Aaron or something.
Or Brighton Rock I saw in England. They're
Right,
great too.
rock.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And how many gigs have you played, and what was the best so far?
Well, yeah, Ice War doesn't play gigs. Never played a gig ever.
Yeah.
It's a solo band. It's almost happened a few times. Where promoters have tried to set up tours and put together some backing bands for me, but then, as fate would have it, it never ended up working out.
Okay.
Um, so I highly doubt it'll ever happen. But I played many gigs with other bands in the past, a long time ago. So I've been really privileged to travel, all over the world in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia, and Oceania even, everywhere except Africa, really. So as far
There's a
as
good.
favorites, every scene is so different, and there's good and bad about the various scenes. I do like going in your part of the world. It's interesting. It's beautiful. I like the history, but then again, it's great to be in somewhere that's more exotic to me, anyways, and it gives me a better perspective on life if I go to somewhere like Southeast Asia or Japan or something. I
Cool.
recognize that traveling is a big privilege that only a small minority of the people in the world get to experience.
True.
But for me, it has been an eye-opening thing. Makes me realize that people live in different ways, and that the way we do things here maybe isn't the best all the time.
It's what you're saying. We. I was confused because I saw the video from Ice War at the Muscle Rock, but it seems it was a concert of your other band, Sex.
That's
So
right.
yeah, but I was
Uh,
confused that it was a show of Ice War, but it wasn't actually.
yeah, the video was me. I had an old school camera um, at Muscle Rock Festival in Sweden in
I know.
2016, and I was just filming people that were headbanging because I thought it was fascinating,
Yeah.
and especially the people that are so drunk or fucked up that they're headbanging by themselves in the corner when no band is playing. Those are my
Yeah.
favorite people. So I was filming a lot of that, and then I
Yeah.
made a music video out of it. It's just people rocking out.
Okay.
It
It
has
was
no.
really,
That's the
and
theme.
then
It's
yeah,
just.
I was confused. I thought it was a show of Ice War. I said, "What the fuck?" It goes, but it was just photo. It was just chopped together like a complete video of Maniacs. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it looks cool, and it's like you were played there. So everybody who don't know you said, "Whoa, they played a killer gig at in Sweden," you know?
That wasn't the intention, but yeah, I could see how somebody would think that.
Yeah, I did. So and you played Germany too?
Yes, I've played Germany many times, maybe 5 or 6 times over the years with different bands.
Was it what's Mats from Iron Cobra who booked you or what?
Matze did book a show for Zex
I
back in,
know,
I
I
think,
remember.
2016. in a small fucking village, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. He's a good
Yeah.
guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah, I know him.
Iron Cobra's a great band.
Yeah, they are. Especially the old stuff is fucking headbanging wild stuff. Always a lot of fun with these guys. Love Iron Cobra. Yeah.
I've never gotten to see them live, unfortunately. I'd love that though.
They were to check out if they ever play again. But they're a really cool band. They're really cool guys. I know that. So yeah, that's why I discovered your band Zex by a flyer Matze gave to me back in the day.
Was
So
it a flyer with a Sirathungal album cover on it, I think?
yeah, he
I
gave me
know.
that, and also I know the guys. Hotte, you might know Hotte, Ila, Matze, all the clan from the Gurupot area, and they were all talking about Zex, and he released it on Metal Punks Rex. I think he did something for you at least. I don't know, or he distributed your demo or whatever. He did
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
Yeah. So I already knew that and I noticed that, but later on I discovered it also by the video from Icewar. I said, "Whoa, this is pretty cool stuff, headbanging." So yeah. Actually, Matze was the guy who introduced me the first time to your music. So
Very nice.
yeah. Okay. Now, well, we talked about trips in Europe. What was the best trip to Europe? What was your favorite country you have visited, or the best memories of Europe,
Of
or the
Europe,
best
or
food
not,
you
not
eat, or
just playing
whatever?
a gig. Um, that's really hard to say. In 2019, I went as a tourist all over Europe, and I went as far from Scotland to Turkey, so and everywhere in between. And
Okay.
that trip was really fun. I really appreciated the north of England and Scotland and the islands.
Okay.
That was really interesting. I got to see a lot of historical things. It's really hard to say that I love going back there. I could go there once or twice a year if I had the money, but I had actually planned to go there and bring my son, but then COVID happened, so everything got canceled.
Gotcha. Is your son into metal or punk too?
No, not at all.
No.
I think
Yeah.
I caught him listening to a Black Sabbath record once, but that was a few years ago, so
Okay.
he didn't keep up with those interests. He's more into hip hop, top 40 kind of stuff.
Or regular kids, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. You can't force them. You can't force them.
Oh, that would be a
Eh,
that would be a terrible mistake to
Your
try to
father did it
force
to
the things
you.
you like onto your own kids. A lot of
Yeah.
parents do that, unfortunately, and it never has a good effect on kids.
Like what you told me in the first place, that your father forced you with the church, and yeah,
Yeah,
forcing is forcing no matter what. So
yeah, exactly. When I was his age, I wasn't allowed to listen to punk rock or heavy metal because it was the devil's music. So
yeah.
then I got into collecting, records, tapes, and CDs, but I had to hide them, or else they would throw them away.
Oh,
Um, and that was really unfortunate. I think my parents over the years have matured a lot more and are a lot more open-minded, but maybe not in those days.
okay. But you're still in touch with them
Oh
in
yeah.
these. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Uh, well, about your new EP you released, I really like it, but it's different from the old stuff. What's your opinion about it? And does it
Which
get good?
EP are we talking about here? Because there's many. And
No, the
keep releasing
recently
a
on
bunch.
2000 from Ice War.
It's called Shout Out.
Yeah,
Um, that was actually recorded a year and a half ago, and so it was recorded before Defender Destroyer album, actually.
I checked on the internet. The most latest that there was an EP,
Yeah.
and and I think it's much different from the very old stuff I heard. So I was curious what your what how it was how the feedback is on on the new recordings you made with Ice War.
Well, people like that one, I'm sure. it was initially recorded a year and a half ago. It was supposed to be on a Hungarian label, just a cassette EP, you know. And they
Okay.
had asked me to record a Hungarian song, like because I always on EPs I always put one cover just for fun, you know.
Yeah.
And they asked me to put a Pokelgep cover. And at first I
Oh,
said,
cool.
no, it's too hard. I can't play that shit. I don't speak Hungarian. But then I did it anyways. And I learned the song in Hungarian and I sang it in Hungarian and it turned out all right. But then the label decided not to release it. So it took
Oh.
a year and a half to get somebody else to release it. But after that, I recorded the Defender Destroyer album, which is the third full length album, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that one is to me is the one that sounds different than the rest because it's more aggressive. There's more distortion turned up on the guitars, and it's a significantly faster. You know, a lot faster. It's almost into speed, almost thrash metal like speeds at that point.
Okay, because yeah, that was another miscon uh, misunderstanding. Like first from the video and now with the EP, because yeah, that you recorded much earlier than it was actually physical released. You know.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
okay, you act. It seems you're active with music 24/7 hours a day at least. That's my idea of it, because you're always working on something at least, or a new band or a new project, or at least listening records, discovering bands. I have the opinion, or the idea, you're always active with music, and not much more else. But tell me, how is it for you? Music, and what are you doing? What are you planning at the moment?
Well, you're almost right. I mean, even in my dreams, I'm thinking of some riffs and some song ideas. You know.
Yeah, cool.
uh, yeah, you know, if I don't play music all the time, you know, I'll go crazy basically. Well, not necessarily, but you know, to me, it's my therapy, and while I actually have motivation to do it, you know,
Yeah,
life is very short, so might as well just give her to the max and you know use it as a creative outlet. So yeah, I'm involved in all kinds of projects and helping a lot of people record their projects and things like that, and uh, so it's and I feel like because of the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people are starting to do things the way I have for years now, whereas I'm more involved into studio bands than playing live
yeah.
now. And now it's like the playing field has been leveled where things are a lot similar to what you know, I it's like I could say, welcome to my world.
But I can imagine in your world, because I was like, the whole pandemic is a drama, but it all says, in my opinion, musicians can work very hard on new material, concentrate more, have more time to invest in new songs, better artwork, everything, this kind of stuff. They
That's a
have the
good
time
point.
because, huh?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And actually, uh, I don't make a secret of it, but when I was young, everything was better with me, and later on, I am diagnosed with autism and stuff like this. So for me, the life is gonna. I prefer living on my own. Like having listening records at home, discovering records at home,
Yeah,
and
I like that
it's
too.
yeah, I like that too. So I can. For me, I'm not that guy who wants to go every concert or every bar every week, and I can much more enjoy the music, listening records, and discovering new bands. And so I think for me that's something you have with Corona, with the COVID. What we are There's much more time to work on things and checking things, and I think it has a much drama that we can travel and we can't do anything, but I can we it's also a time where we can express ourselves much better. I think so.
Yeah, it's a
Because
very good point. I would agree with most of that for sure.
I think so. Yeah. So and you're working at what you're working on something, because I know the Cannibal, of course, of Cannibal, Cannibal of Corpse,
Of
the new,
course.
yeah, shit, it comes like, yeah, the new your band where we are talking about at the moment.
Yeah.
Uh, can you
Well,
tell me about that project or about
Cannibal
the?
was formed right around the time the Corona crisis had started, and our
Hmm.
intention was to be, not just a project, but to play live and things.
Yeah.
And we recorded our demo album or whatever, uh, which became more of an album, anyways. And
With a killer artwork, by the way.
oh yeah,
I love it.
the guy who did it, I think, it lives in Europe somewhere. His name is Raoul. Uh, he had already done it. I just saw it on his page, and I said, "Hey, can I buy this artwork from you?"
Okay.
And anyways, uh, but as far as Cannibal is concerned, the dream is to eventually play live and do some tours and festivals or whatever. But for now, we're just recording. We're working on a new album, as that's what I've been doing actually all week. So slowly things are going to come along for that,
Cool.
and it would be nice. We've been talking, you and I, about getting the first album a proper release. Not just on DIY cassettes. So hopefully that will see the light of day as well in the near future.
I hope so. The guy just wrote me, and I go after this chat. I'm gonna write him back and see what we can do. We don't say too much on the video because have to
Because we're
be
professionals.
yeah. Okay. You're a true collector like me. I don't know if I can show you a little bit, like here. You
Oh
see,
wow, it's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. Uh, you're a true collector too. I saw your record collection, which is quite large, I think. Uh, can you tell me some? Please show your most five previous pr- previous the most uh, lovely records you have, and you will, if you ever move to a lonely island, and
Yeah.
these records will be always with you. You can maybe you can show us.
Okay, well, you've asked me to pick out a few, but that's really difficult because I'll have my top five of this kind of music and top five from that country and
Okay,
top
go
five from
wild.
this year. So I just picked them mostly at random, but records that nonetheless mean a lot to me.
Cool.
Um, I'll start with this.
Yeah, yeah, it's a classic, ultimate classic.
So this Candlemass record, when I was a teenager, I was 16 years old, I think, maybe 17, and I was living in the streets, homeless, in Los Angeles, California. And there was this place that if you went there and answered a bunch of questions for a survey, they would give you a gift certificate for either McDonald's or Amoeba Records. And Amoeba Records is a huge store in Hollywood. It's giant. So I would always take the Amoeba Records gift certificate, and I went and got Epicus Dumicus Metallicus on cassette. Uh, and I listened to that thing in my Walkman over and over and over and over again. And, so it had quite a profound impact on me. I love it to this day. It's a perfect album.
Cool.
Um, and I also chose maybe an obvious choice from most people, the first Halloween 12-inch. And this is the Canadian press on Bonsai.
Okay.
Back,
I have the
15,
European
20
version.
years ago, it was very easy to find Bonsai Records stuff here in Canada. You would find it for $1, sometimes, maybe $10 max. Like I probably paid $8 for this back in the day. Uh, Now it's super collectible. It's crazy to me, anyways. But this record to me is my all-time favorite heavy metal record ever. There's nothing better than this to me. This is perfection. The production, the songwriting, the guy's voice. They should have never changed singer. The riffs, even the lyrics are great. Everything.
I have the noise pressing.
Very good. Noise was a great label back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go with
Heavy Load.
A really catchy band. So Heavy Load. They had a few good records, so it was hard for me to choose one. But if I had to choose one out of their discography, this is probably their best. This band was great because I respect them a lot because they were really DIY and recorded all their own things in their own studio and released their own records. And their production style is great. All those choruses of them singing in unison. It's amazing. Like not many bands can pull that off like they do. All right, this is a record I've only discovered recently. Transmission, the
A German
first
band.
Transmission records. For many years, I was a big trance fan, and I have several trance records. And I later on found out that they changed their name to Transmission.
True.
So recently I bought this thinking like, oh, well, I'm sure it's good, trance is great. But this has become my favorite trance record.
Really?
The songwriting on this is incredible. It's, they could have been writing, top 40 pop songs basically, but it's super heavy at the same time, and it's got a great, like, dirgy production. And it has the same cover artist that did a lot of the Halloween album covers, which is great.
Nice.
Also, I love this cover.
I
The
don't
art,
have this
everything
album.
about it.
I don't have this album. For which year is it?
This album is from, I don't know, late 80s, I know. I'm not sure, but I think it's from 1989.
I have to find it. If it's good, I will check out on YouTube when we finished.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I'm sure it's very
What's the
easy
name
to
of the
find.
album? What's the name of the album?
The name of the album is called Back in Trance.
Back in Trance. Okay, cool. I go take a check out.
And then last, my fifth album.
For me too.
Would be the first Vice Human album.
Yeah.
To me, this has always been a major inspiration for Ice War's music because it's very sloppy. It's got like a total shit production. It's got like awful guitar sound. Everything about it is just what I love about music. It's so raw, and you can really feel the passion in the music. And these guys are Greek, but they sing in English, and with big Greek accents. It just sounds so great. Everything about him, the songwriting, even the lyrics are pretty fucking good in this record. I always preach the gospel of Vice Human to everyone that I can, and they've never been really overhyped in the metal scene, unfortunately. Aside from being possibly famous in Greece, nobody seems to give a shit about this band.
I painted their logo on my jacket, so.
Oh wow! You'll have to show me.
I love
that
that record. Yeah.
And I think I got this record in 2012 in Rennes, in France, in a small record shop, and they had so much metal records, and everything was like €6 each.
Really?
I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I was like, holy fuck! If only I had more money and more space in my bag, I would have bought the whole store,
Fuck yeah.
So that's
I only have a CD reissue, not this vinyl. I'm jealous that you own it. Like I don't have it. I only have the reissue on CD. Yeah, it's a great record. Vice Humans from Greece. I'm very surprised that you took that record, but not many people are familiar with it.
Yeah. I mean, all their records are great. The second record sounds a lot like this one. I don't own it, unfortunately. It's a lot harder to get than the first one. And then their records in the 2000s and stuff are also pretty fucking good, surprisingly. It's rare that you see an old band make a comeback and it's still good. Or they'll make a comeback and it'll be more like a modern production and trying to play what all the kids are playing and trying to fit in. But no, they kept it same style. It's like same shit production, everything. I like their new stuff.
Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for replying my interview. Some last words, some things you want to tell the fans, maniacs around. Go wild.
Last words. I don't know what my actual last words will be, before I die. But for now, thanks a lot for the support. And if anybody's watching out there, I'm always looking to put out more releases. I've got infinite amount of unreleased material. Uh, and I like working on projects sometimes with other people. It's fun. It keeps me occupied. Keeps my creative brain going. So and anything else to say? I don't know. If anybody wants to talk, they know where to contact me. I'm not hard to find.
Cool, man.
And one last thing. You're the only guy in the world, except for maybe one friend, who still uses Skype. Keeping it old school.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. I am nearly 43 and I live under a stone in the 80s, so
Nice.
for me it's sometimes things change in life and I didn't notice. For example, the whole emo culture from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I didn't know it was exist.
Oh, I'm almost like you too. I remember 15, 20 years ago when the emo was big, but I was just a little bit too old for that.
Yeah.
And, people on the street would be like, hey, you're a fucking emo. And I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, true.
And I never heard these bands because they looked so stupid to me at the time. But a few years ago, I decided to give it a chance. All this emo and pop punk and stuff. And I think a lot of it's really good. I love it. I actually listen to My Chemical Romance and bands like that. I think they're great. I even played in a band. Actually, the record's right here. Oh, I can't find it. Anyways, I played in this project last year that was really influenced from early 2000s emo and pop punk, and it was called Devastate, and released a record. The only difference is all those kind of riffs and melodies, but it's played on down-tuned guitars, tuned in B like Carcass or death metal.
And then you probably also like a band like Crash Diet from Sweden.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'm not like a big fan or anything, but like they're not bad at all.
They have a perfect mixture of 80s wave pop, death metal, glam. It's everything mixture in one blender, and they mix their looks, they mix their music. I think they're unique and they're really great. So
yeah, good for them. It's good to be unique. It's good to push the boundaries and mix things. I mean, I say that, but I play in a band that sounds pretty old school, I guess. But
yeah,
I'm interested in other things too. Yeah.
You're even the only one who likes the record from Battle Cry. I sold it for a few euros because it's so crappy.
Yeah, I've got a big thing for 80s Christian AOR and heavy metal. I love that stuff. I collect it. To me, it's so ridiculous that it exists. But a lot of music's actually pretty good if you can put aside the ridiculous lyrics sometimes.
I like it too, but I think Battle Cry crossed the line for me.
Crossed the line. It's like Journey light.
Anyway, Joe, thank you very much for your time. Maybe we meet sometime in somewhere in the world.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let's trade some cassettes, dub some cassettes for each other instead of sending music by WeTransfer or whatever. Old school dub taping.
Let's dub some 8 tracks.
Okay, cool, man. What's that? Show me. What's it?
It's an 8-track cassette.
Ah, from the Scorpions.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's sealed.
I don't have that, man. Yeah.
No one has this. This isn't even on Discogs.
Whoa. It's a collector.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, Joe, thank you very much for your time. When it's uploaded, I will tell you. You can share around. I hope we meet someday and we work some things out and let's stay in touch.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
For the passion, not the fashion. Cheers.
Follow me down, access across the line, armor and studs, I'm not.